So welcome everyone. We are here today with Marc Serra Sallent, who is actually the managing partner at the CA Sports, which is the agency that advises clubs and other sports institutions when it comes to the marketing and sponsorship. And he's a brilliant communicator of the very complex terms inside the industry and communicating that into our language, simple language, easy to understand, which is why actually I hope this meeting will be very valuable for you, helpful. And I think also at the very end of the presentation of the Marc, we will hear also some advice when it comes to your career, how you can prepare, what's the trends inside the market, and I hope for everyone will be so valuable. So we can start with the presentation of Marc, then we can move on to the questions. So if you have any questions, drop on the chat, and then we can ask Marc, and yeah, we can start. Marc, the floor is yours.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bartos, first of all, for inviting me today with EA Sports Management Club. It's a pleasure to be here today. As Bartos said, I like to be this webinar not only a presentation, but forth and back with questions and all the stuff. So I'm here to answer all your questions, only not regarding to the industry, but of course to your career as well. So let me start first of all with a little presentation about CA Sports, about me, and just for you to know a little bit more about me about the company, and then we can, as Bartos said, we can move to the Q&A section, let's say. Well, as Bartos said, I'm the managing director at CA Sports. I'm a lecturer in the Sports Management School, Cruyff Institute, and European Business School as well. I've been working with several clubs and brands in the past 6 years, such as Manchester United, LaLiga, Atletico Madrid, Hyundai, Konami, and 433. I guess some of you know some of those players. And about my, let's say, my background in the student side, I have a degree in business administration, MBA in sports business in the Johan Cruyff Institute, a master in digital business and entrepreneurship, and another master in management of high performance teams. And of course, just to give a personal twist in this presentation, I don't know what I love most. I don't know if I love most sports or learning about new things. So I'm a learner. I'm a born learner. So that's one of the things that I love most, apart from sports, not only in the industry side, but as a person as well. Entering to speak about what CA Sports do. First of all, I would like to say that we bring people, brands, and properties closer to sports. That's our main objective, of course. Bringing, as I said before, people together and closer to brands and clubs and properties. As you may know, CA Sports. In CA Sports, we've been involved in some projects from the past 3 years. That is the time that the company has been working in the sports world. So we've been working with Ronaldinho and Pro Evolution Soccer. We've been working with Hyundai activating the sponsorship agreement with Atletico Madrid, with EuroLeague, with Formula One, with Formula E. In the running side, we've been working with ASICS, that of course you may also know. We've been working with Barcelona, Sevilla, or Valencia marathons as well. We've been working in UK with Manchester United and Casino del Diablo, that we are going to talk about it later, and of course many other projects. But just to have you a quick idea about what CA Sports is doing. What we do is bringing people together and closer to brands and clubs through sports. CA Sports we are a company located in Barcelona. Our headquarters are in Barcelona, but of course we have another headquarters in Mexico to work closer to the LATAM area and the United States as well. We have representatives in Brazil, Middle East, Maldives, China, and Japan as well, and we are now working in opening new markets apart from the ones that you can see here. This is the CA Sports ecosystem. First of all, we have an area or a team focused on business development. This area is mainly focused on entrepreneurship projects that are born from zero, such as EBIX. If you want to check our website, EBIX is the first helmet that has airbag bicycle helmet that has airbag included in the helmet. So it's a very good project, and we have a lot of let's say, I don't know how to say it. We are very proud of the project. Then we have the activation side and some of the projects that you've seen in the last slide are the projects that are developed in the activation team by the activation team. Then we have a business intelligence team that is focused basically on finding the best opportunities in terms of commercial opportunities or sponsorship opportunities, or of course identifying targets that are targets of our clients. Then we have the commercial side that is of course working with the business intelligence area together day by day. Then the brand ambassador side that it's working with athletes such as Ronaldinho, Casillas, Carles Puyol, and other athletes, not only footballers, but also influencers and runners like Joseph Agram. I don't know if you know them or not, but they are very known in Spain, basically in Spain. Then we have the lecturing side. As I said before, I am a lecturer in the sports management school, but we are now working on not only being lecturers outside CA Sports, but we are working also on bringing new knowledge or new ways to learn for students like you through CA Sports. And the last area will be like the European and Latin markets, and how we help our clients to develop their strategies in those territories. I like to say that in CA Sports we work as a team. Our mindset is to work as a team, but this team is formed by let's say split two teams. The first team would be like the in-house talent. We have very talented people in CA Sports, people that are professionals, they've been working with some clubs like Football Club Barcelona, with Atletico Madrid, as I said before, and they are very talented in developing activation projects. Then we have people working in the commercial side as well, that they develop the best packages for clients, and they find the best opportunities in the market. Then there's people focused on content creation, not only in video, but of course in artworks as well. And finally, we have an area that is focused on consultancy and everything that our clients need, or they have any concern about a specific project or a specific need that they have. Of course, we also help them to develop their strategies, and we give them the best advice in this case. And the other team would be like strategic partners, as I don't know if you've seen our LinkedIn page lately, but we are now developing different areas focused, as I said before, in business intelligence, in content creation, in CSR. And lecture, we are closing partnerships with the best partners and best players in the sports world. One of them is Horizon. I don't know if you know them or not, but this is one of the things that we believe in, that all the things that we are going to do in the coming months and in the coming years will be based on objective data. And of course, Horizon is a perfect partner in the assets valuation side. And I'd say like it's very important to have like this tool, because it's a very important, let's say, tool in this case. Moving forward, we reach audiences, both brands, and reach our clients' goals. In this case, I'd like to present you some of the projects that we have in CA Sports. First of all, the eFootball PES 2020 agreement between the company and Ronaldinho. Ronaldinho became the legend and the, let's say, the legendary player of the edition of 2020 and 2021. So that was a very successful association, because both sides were very happy with the agreement. Then the Hyundai activation plan with Atletico Madrid, that was It's been a very successful partnership so far. Of course, we have another year coming. So we've been working with Hyundai not only in brand awareness and product placement for their cars, but also in CSR projects to work with the women's team as well. We've been the first brand that gives both sides, the women's team and the men's team, the same car. So working towards equality in the sports as well. So it's been a very exciting project so far. Then this is an example of the project that we worked with Atletico Madrid, sorry, with Betis. In this case, we worked with them in the LATAM match that they had in Mexico. In this case, it was against Querétaro. It was related to a specific, let's say, agreement that LaLiga had with a right holder there in Mexico, and we wanted to bring more awareness to LaLiga, and we brought Betis, sorry, to Mexico to play against Querétaro. And this is another project that we are very proud of. This is the Manchester United and Casillero del Diablo activation, where we bring 40 fans around the world, from China, from Japan, from Africa, Chile, Spain, France, etc., to Old Trafford. They can enjoy a 3-day trip in Manchester, where they play in Old Trafford. They play with legends of Manchester United. We played with Quinton Fortune and David May, two former players of Manchester United. They won, of course, a Manchester United kit. They had an incredible experience, and it's a kind of project that we love to manage, because it's amazing how the people enjoys these kinds of projects. And of course, we hope that soon we can keep implementing these activations. In terms of where we do now, where the industry is going now, I would like to give just a couple of insights. I think that I'm very sure that the partnerships will be partnerships. They are not going to be transactions anymore. Some of the sponsorship agreements in the last years were based only on fees or on advertisement, let's say, strategies. And of course, as we were talking lately with Bartos, this is something that it's going to change. All projects now need not only a fee for the sponsorship package, but also, let's say, a vision. They need to share a common vision for both parties, for the property or for the brand as well. So they're going to be they'll need to be partners in order to reach a successful partnership. And as I said before, another thing that I like to highlight is that data is key to optimize resources and reach the bullseye. So since most of the clubs and most of the brands, they have now lower budgets, it will be key to be as effective as possible, as efficient as possible in all your resources, and of course reach your audiences and reach your goals with less money possible. Then environmental causes and CSR actions are a must. It's a must, and it's a very important thing to take into account, because it will be a game changer between a brand that it's not working with CSR projects, or it's not aware about climate change, and another one that is. So people is now it's now working, or it's now, how do you say, it's now aware about how pollution is affecting our climate change as well. So it will be key. Blockchain, I think that last week you had a webinar about blockchain. So blockchain will change the world as well. I don't know if you know about how blockchain is going to change the sport world, what NFTs are, etc. But I'd say that the more that you learn about blockchain, the more that you will bring to your company in the sports world once you're working in the industry as well. And of course, proactive and empathetic professionals are very required now, and will be very required, since it will be a time where you'll have to be creative as creative as possible. You'll have to be as as proactive as possible, as I said before, because there will be a lot of challenges to be overcome. So it will be very important for companies and clubs as well to have professionals that are proactive, that are empathetic, that are not only looking for the fees, as I said before, and it will be a game changer as well. In terms of your career, I would like to highlight some key insights that I've used in my career. In this case, skills are key, but emotional intelligence is very crucial too. Those two, let's say, skills will be will be key for you to reach your goals in let's say in your career, because it's not only about the skills, but it's also knowing and getting to know the people that is surrounding you, which is the context, which is the people feeling, which is the club feeling, which is the brand feeling, how you can help these people. So this is something that will be key as well. Of course, learn as much as possible, explore, read, connect, be connected with leaders of the industry, create your own network, work on LinkedIn as well. I'll be pleasure to give you some insights if you have questions about LinkedIn and how developing your career as well. Try to bring the best to your clients, partners, and colleagues, not only focusing on the short term, but in the long term as well. As I said before, vision will be key. Sharing a vision with your partner, with a brand, with the club, with the allies, will be very key to work together towards a common objective. So try to bring the best and not only focusing on the short term. Have a long-term vision, as I said before, and of course work with passion. That of course I guess that all of you have a lot of passion for the sports world, and it will be key. So I don't know if we can start with the Q&A questions. If you want me to explain a little bit more some of the projects, if not.
Yeah, if you can at the very beginning, maybe before the questions, because you suggested that, and I think that would be valuable, just to hear from you your strategy, for example, for the young people on developing your network on the LinkedIn. You mentioned that like 2 minutes ago, and like it can, sometimes it's very silly, but like I think in this specific niche, it can be valuable to hear from you what would be your thoughts as an employer actually.
I think that the first thing that the companies do when they are going to hire someone, at least what we do in CA Sports, is going to LinkedIn and see if this guy or this girl is using LinkedIn. Because first of all, the first thing that we see is if this person is a person that is interested in the sector, if it's reading, if it's sharing information, if she or he has a complete profile. So all of this is something that companies are going to look at when they have a lot of people asking for a specific job. Just to give you an example, when we post a job in LinkedIn, we have more or less 1,000 applications in only one day. So first of all, what we do is we go to LinkedIn, we see if people are really using LinkedIn or not, how they are using LinkedIn or not, and this is as a student, I didn't think that LinkedIn was as important as it is, but of course it's a very powerful tool, and it's a tool that will allow you to show some knowledge, some insights about you to companies, even if you don't have already a tracking in the industry.
Okay, so I think Chris raised hand as the first person. So if Chris, you have a question, then you can ask right now.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, first, I have 2 questions, but first I want to say I really look up to what you're doing, Marc, so far with the company, and how you bring like the market to a worldwide level, not only attending the European side, but also to other sides as the Latin side. So my first question goes into this side. As we know, the LPF or Campeonato Brasileño is like one of the biggest leagues so far in the region. How is the company adding or contributing to them in order to work like as a cooperation? Because we know that you work along with Barcelona for PES and every other like club, but so far these championships such as the Liga MX are the ones who have a huge fan site all around the world, but are quite less attended, such as the European ones. So what is the company doing to target this side?
I mean, what we are doing now in Mexico, specifically in Mexico, because we are not working in Brazil yet. So we're closing a partnership with a person there to be our representative, but we are not working in Brazil yet. What we do in Mexico, basically now we are helping clubs to structure their sponsorship, let's say, departments, because it's not as professionalized as in Europe in this case. So first of all, what we do is we reach the club, we present us as CA Sports, as professionals of the sponsorship and activation management. So first of all, we say, okay, guys, we think that there's an opportunity here, that we think that if you develop professionally the department, you are going to create new revenue streams, and that will be not only for the short term but the long term as well. So that's the first thing that we do. We present us as CSE Sports. We show some of the projects that we've been working so far, and then we start the conversations with them. We are now working with some of the clubs there, and what we do is, first of all, we do like a consultancy project where we study what they have, what are their sponsors, what categories they have, which are the fees that they are sharing with the potential brands that could be sponsoring the club as well, which are the assets that are included in each package, which is the importance of each asset. I mean, it's not the same having, I don't know, a signed shirt. It's not the same playing at Old Trafford that having a general ticket. So first of all, we organize the whole structure of the club, or we see which is the structure and how they are organized. And then we start creating these packages. Once we have all the structure, let's say, structured, then we start helping them not only in the management of this or the evolution of this sponsorship department, but here is where business intelligence enters in the game. So once we have everything set, and we have, let's say, the white spaces, I mean, there's maybe a need for an automotive brand, or there's a need for an insurance brand, or there's maybe an opportunity in the main sponsor package. So we use our business intelligence tools to find the best partners that could fit all the packages that the club is now offering to the market, and then we reach those brands. But with data, with objective data. So it's quite important doing that, because if not, brands are a little bit skeptical about the opportunity of sponsorship, and the brands that are not used to sponsor clubs, it's very difficult to convince them only from air. So you need like objective data. You need a professional team behind the proposal, let's say, such as CSE Sports or any other agency that could do it. And then after we have all the brands that could fit these different, let's say, packages, we reach them and we start the negotiations. That's where all the proposals are created. That's where we start negotiating with all the clubs and all the brands. And once we close the deals, of course, we start developing the project in the business development or activation areas. But as I said before, it's not only about closing deals, it's about which is the value that the deal will bring to the club or to the brand. So we don't like to only, let's say, find friends for brands or for clubs, but we love to develop projects, of course. So we don't only go to the brand or to the club saying, okay, there's opportunity, let's say, for the main sponsor of Football Club Barcelona, do you want to pay, I don't know, 50 million for the jersey? No, we create a project before going to meet the brand. But of course, everything has, like, as I said before, a process where consultancy, business intelligence, the activation team is involved as well. And of course, which are the objectives that we are going to set to know if the project is a successful project, or we have to change some of the things inside the project.
Okay, thank you so much. And my second question is, I'm currently at Mexico City, and I got really interested when you mentioned your HQ here in Mexico. Can you elaborate more on how you manage it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Mexico is a headquarter that was born 1 year ago. First of all, what we did as a company, we explored the different countries in Latin America, such as Ecuador, Colombia, Mexico, etc. What we did was, let's say, a lecturing. As I said before, we went there to do some speeches with leading brands and leading clubs there, and we started knowing people there, starting on LinkedIn as well, reaching people of Mexico in this case. And finally, we found out what we thought that was and is, of course, a good partner for Mexico. Mexico is a headquarter that is now formed by 5 people. So there are three people in the, let's say, commercial business development side, another person in the content creation side, and another one in the consultancy side. So what we basically do there is we reach all the Latin market from Mexico, from San Luis, and basically we help mostly, of course, Mexican brands and Mexican clubs develop their strategies through sponsorship. But we are now reaching other markets as well from there, and especially USA. We're trying to reach USA as well from Mexico, since, as you may know, of course, Mexico is close to USA. There are a lot of Mexicans and a lot of people from Latin America in the USA. So it's not only about let's say, for us, it's easy because they speak Spanish, you speak Spanish too, and it's easier for us to speak the same language. But of course, it's a strategic area as well between Latin America and the USA. So that's what we do. And the services are almost the same, like consultancy, activation, business intelligence, and the other services that I said before.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to have a better insight, probably later on a message through LinkedIn or something from your HQ here in Mexico, but thank you so much.
I would be glad, Christopher. Thank you very much.
Okay, so the next is Sama.
Yeah, excuse me. Hello, everyone. So I am interested to have a master's in sports marketing and sports management after I finish my MBA. So actually, I have 2 questions. So first, do you recommend top schools to have sports management or sports marketing master? And
which school, Sama?
Huh?
I didn't hear you. Which schools did you say?
Masters. I want to do a master's in sports management after my MBA. So do you recommend any top school?
Any top school, of course, sports management school, IE school as well, European school. I mean, what I'd say to you, first of all, you have to think if you want to do a doctorate after your master or not, because you have to, first of all, you have to go to decide between an official master or a non-official master if you want to follow your career after this master studying and becoming a doctor in the sports industry. After that, a top school, would be like Cruyff Institute. I've been teaching in the Cruyff Institute. It's a very well-known and very well-known school. The sports management school as well. The school that is today organizing the webinar as well. I mean, it depends on the region that you want to study. Do you have a region that or country that you like to go to study?
Well, actually, I'm working now in the Middle East and Saudi Arabia, and we work. We used to have sponsorship with Real Madrid and Manchester United, and we have launched the first sports OTT platform in 2013. So mainly my market is here, the Middle East.
It's the Middle East, okay. I mean, I don't know top schools in the Middle East, but what I'd say to you. Sorry?
It could be online.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say. I mean, online sports management school is a good school. The Cruyff Institute as well. Both are the schools that I I can tell you that they are good schools, top schools in the sports management side, and there are many more. But my experience has been with those two schools. So I'd say sports management school and Johan Cruyff Institute.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Another question about the Middle East market. How do you see it, and what rights do you have here? What do you do exactly? Your activities and
we are now
you
we are now exploring the Middle East market with a person that joined CA Sports, I'd say 1 month ago, because it's a very interesting market. It's a market that will host the 2022 World Cup as well. So, I mean, it's a very interesting market for clubs, because there's companies that they can pay, let's say, the sponsorship fees that the European clubs are now asking. So it's an interesting area because the 2022 World Cup will take place there. So it's a territory that we are now exploring with the commercial team, and we're very excited about the things that has come up until so far till now.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Yes,
Thank you.
I would like to ask you about like the Chinese market. It's kind of interesting topic because it's both, it can be both seen in football and soccer industry, but also, for example, in tennis, when there is this expansion into the China, because it's the additional stream of revenue. So from your experience of the cooperation with clubs, for example, or institutions in sports, how they see the Chinese sports market, whether it's already here, that they see the vision and they want to expand, or this is like a matter of the next decade when the China will adopt our sports culture, I would say, in terms of the clubs that we have presence. For example, the Real Madrid, for example, have presence in Singapore, but it's not a big deal for them right now. And I'm wondering whether the Chinese market, in terms of the profits that can be gained there, especially in the COVID, for example, and like how the industry was hit by COVID financially, whether they will start this expansion there.
I mean, the Chinese market is very interesting for sports properties, and because of course there's a lot of fans there, and they are very emotional, and they engage a lot with clubs such as Real Madrid. Manchester United has a very strong position there in the Chinese market as well, and Asia. So I don't think that they are going to do, let's say, as you said before, they are going to have our sports, let's say, soul or character in the next 2-3 years. I think that it will be more in the next 5 to 10 years. And another thing that will have a strong impact is what the Chinese government and what the laws are implemented in the country now, because there's been a lot of how do you say it? A lot of help of the government to brands to expand to another markets in Europe and Latin America and stuff, and USA as well. But now the Chinese government has changed some of those politics in expansion for brands and businesses outside China. So it will have I think a strong impact. So I don't know if you saw it or not, but the Inter de Milan owners are now looking for a new owner. So this is some of the things that the Chinese government is now working on, not having investments outside China or not big investments outside China. So it will have an impact in the sports world as well, I guess.
Yeah, but I think that the owner of the Inter, actually they removed the club also from the Chinese market, like, because they owned the both clubs, but nevertheless. But I also want to ask you a question, because like we had a kind of a very quick meeting before this meeting, and like you wonderfully actually explained me how the industry is changing towards like the more data-driven skills and data-driven based marketing, and what skills we have to acquire, for example, in order to be successful, because the marketing is not the same marketing like 10 or 20 years ago. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. One of the things that is more important for serious sports and for the industry as well is professionals that are capable of not only gathering data and objective data, as I said before, but knowing what this data means. I mean, one of the things that we do for our clients as well is analyzing those, let's say, reports from some of the big companies such as Nielsen or Blinkfire and another big players in the sports industry. And we analyze what those data mean and what are the actions that we have to take into account, or what are the activation plan that will be led after analyzing that data. All the professionals that have a data background, of course, will be key for two reasons. First of all, they are going to implement their actions based on objective data, and so the actions that they take that they do will be much more secure for the company as well. And on the other side, as we talked before, being as efficient as possible. So if you know how to gather data, how to analyze data, what does data mean, what does data can actually which value that data can bring to the club, to the company, to the agency as well, it will be it will be key for the market, and not only the professionals, but of course the tools that the agency in this case has, such as the business intelligence area that I mentioned before, or the software such as Horizon. Those tools will be key for the market in order to evolve as healthy as possible in the coming years.
Okay, so Pei, yeah, you can ask a question.
Okay, thank you so much for taking time for this event. And my question is, what do you do specifically through Japanese branch? Because I was working at PCL Kobe, and also now I'm working with several Japanese football clubs.
Mm-hmm. So in Japan, our main client, of course, as you may know, is Konami in this case, and we've been working with them for the sponsorship deals that they have with Ronaldinho, with Casillas, Puyol, as I said before. And basically, what we do now in Japan is working with a representative there that he does let's say a market research once a month, once every 2 weeks to know which are the brands that are investing in sponsorship, what are the brands that are investing in sponsorship, but in Japan and all the other markets, to reach them, to start conversations with them, to see what they need, what are their objectives. But as I said before, we have a representative there that is responsible for analyzing the market twice a month at least, and then we with the commercial side and commercial team, and the activation team as well, we develop the strategies to reach the brands, to reach the clubs as well, and that's our activity in Japan.
Thank you. Sorry, one more question. And which football club is the best or unique in terms of marketing perspectives? And also, could you share what they do with us?
Yeah, I'd say like some of the clubs that have a lot good marketing strategy. I'd say, I don't know if you know Forest Green.
No.
Forest Green is a second or third division team in the UK that it's working towards climate change, and everything they do, not only in the sponsorship side, but the essence of the club is focused on the climate change stuff. So all the players are vegan, all the sponsors are zero emissions sponsors. So it's quite interesting, their strategy. And another team that is working very well the marketing side, I'd say, is Juventus, Manchester United as well. I'd say those three. Take a look to those three, and especially to Forest Green, because it's a complete different strategy, and it's a complete different positioning, and it's a very interesting club to study.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna research them.
Thank you, Tupe.
We can invite them for the next meeting.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
So yeah, Gianluca, please.
Thank you. You mentioned blockchain is playing a big role in data analytics. What other technology do you think is going to be important in the future? For example, virtual reality or anything like that? Is that something that the agency is starting to think about?
I think that, yeah, augmented reality as well, because it's a technology that allows the fan to watch the game, but with all the data and interesting data, such as, I don't know, passes or percentages, or which is the most played area, etc. So it creates a very interesting broadcasting, let's say, way to match the data and the broadcasting of the matches. Of course, blockchain, as I said before, all the things that allow content to be as, let's say, as impressive as possible. We are now working in a platform that I can't share, but I'm going to share it with Bartus, and he will be able to share it with you once it's released. But it's a platform that creates a digital ecosystem where the fans can watch games or watch awards or whatever, where you have all the social media platforms inside, all the e-commerce inside, so you don't have to go outside this platform to reach all the digital channels of the club or the event. So it's very interesting. But I think that blockchain will be king, and augmented reality will be king as well. And of course, 5G to connect all the venues and all the digital channels and platforms of the clubs as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would like to ask you about like this from more like a sponsorship view, because how you envision like the future of TV rights and the emergence of the entry of, for example, Amazon, or this technological more like companies into the like TV sector and TV rights and sportsmanship rights, because it will raise actually the amount of money that clubs can gain. But actually, how you envision from the client's perspective? So whether you will see it in a more like a one platform, like DAZN, for example, is creating right now. So you have on demand everything, or it will be more different, and whether the clubs are looking for it or they will see it as a threat, maybe. Like, what's the position of the clubs in terms of that, and what's like the clients can expect from this like entry of these companies?
I mean, broadcasting now is a very atomized. There's a lot of players in the broadcasting sector, and there's a lot of players that are coming, such as you said before, Amazon, Facebook, etc. So I'm not an expert in the broadcasting area, but I think that it was Facebook that took they left the agreement that they had with, I don't know if it was with India or some other leagues to broadcast their matches. So what I think is on-demand video will be key, since sometimes you can't watch the match in live. So it will be key in this case, and all the stuff that will be connected to the match, but it's not the match itself, will be key as well. Platforms, as you said before, such as DAZN, that they have now in Spain, they have MotoGP, they have Formula One as well, will be key players. But it's a very complicated battlefield in this case. There's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of different competition. There's a lot of players. So it will take time, since we have, like, I think an organized ecosystem in the broadcasting side as well.
And also, for example, because we are actually talking about like big clubs, Manchester United, Juventus, Barcelona, for example. And if we take, for example, like a smaller market, let's say Portugal, which the culture of football, for example, is very like it's great actually, but from the financial point of view, because it is a problem for them. So from the sponsorship view and your cooperation, for example, clubs like that, and your experience in sponsorship sector, how these institutions or these clubs can actually attract new sources of money, new investors, how they can position themselves in order to gain new investors, for example, from the Asia, because I expect the Asia market will be like the new source of investors, because for now in Europe it's crowded, it's difficult, and sports is not always so profitable, and how these clubs can actually overcome these challenges.
Do you mean how these clubs can reach Asian markets or Asian investors?
more like investors, so someone who will provide them with a new source of money. Because, for example, in Portugal, let's say you can raise amount of TV rights into a very high amounts, because it's difficult. It's basically based on the demand. So they have to look for new streams of revenue. And very often it is, for example, investors from China, from Asia, basically, or from Europe also, but it's less frequent right now. So how they can position themselves, because Juventus, Manchester United, and so on, these big clubs have a lot of advantages, but how these smaller clubs, smaller institutions, smaller markets can bring actually this money?
I think that the only way that they have is reaching Europe. I mean, UEFA Champions League. They need to become global clubs. If they are not global clubs, or their leagues are not global leagues, because there are clubs such as Valencia that maybe they don't reach Champions League every season, but of course they are in LaLiga, so there's a lot of exposure in LaLiga in global markets, in Asia, in USA, in Latam as well. So there are two things that they have to take into account. First of all, the club itself has to be at least one time or so, two times in the Champions League from the last 5 years. I mean, they have to reach Champions League to become a global club and to reach global audiences, a broader audiences. And on the other hand, of course, the league itself plays a big role here. I mean, if you're a club in La Liga, if you're a club in the Premier League, if you're a club in Serie A, maybe Bundesliga, maybe, but those leagues they don't have the same exposure as La Liga or the Premier League. I think that there are those are the two things that they have to bear in mind. First of all, if the club is reaching Europe or not, and if the league is reaching global audiences. Not. I mean, for Portugal, it will be difficult. It will be difficult to reach investors, because the investor at the end they want to take a profit from this investment. So it's very difficult.
And okay, so and the last question would be, or one of the last, because we have also a question from Pay. So my question would be, bearing in mind actually that we have a problem in the sports industry of attracting the very young actually sports fans, because they, for example, choose video games, Netflix, and so on. That's the competition right now that clubs have to be into, right? And what would be strategy you recommend, or what strategy that clubs actually develop right now in order to target like the Generation Z or very young aged fans, in order to reach them, in order to attract them, and in order to transform them from the normal fan into the connected fan?
I'd say that first of all, they have to work in this so-called second screen, like the mobile. So while you're watching a match, I do it as well. You are checking your phone, you're checking Twitter, you're checking TikTok, Instagram, the clubs apps as well. So first of all, they have to work in the second screen. And by that, I mean that they have to work on content. So we are now working with TikTok and for the Latin market. So we are helping clubs and some of the best athletes to reach, as you said before, the Zen, the Zeta generation in this case, creating new ways of content, creating new ways of communicating. Another thing that I'd say is that they have to work basically in not only working on football, but they have to transcend the football barrier. So they have to think about football from a more cultural side, they have to approach football in a different way, not only in the game itself, but what does football mean? What does that club mean? Which is their heritage, which is their connection with culture, with music, with I don't know, with retail, with fashion, all the stuff. So they have to create content that it's not only based on football, but based on the values of football and the values that connect football with other sectors such as music, such as fashion, as I said before, singing, etc. I don't know if you've been following the last, let's say, kids releases from some clubs, but some of them, the Adidas ones and the Nike ones, they release the jerseys with models that are not only the players anymore, or with some outfits that are more, let's say, street based, not only football based. So you have to transcend that barriers from football, and you have to reach new audiences by connecting the club with brands that are already working in those areas. So partnerships such as maybe Puma with Maybelline to reach the some other markets, some other targets, it's key as well. So they have to transcend those football barriers with content and new tools or new channels such as TikTok, podcasts. Maybe it's another way to connect with younger audiences. So that would be my answer.
Okay, so like 2 last questions, but very quick because we don't have much time. So Perry, you can start, and Alejandro will be the next, and then we'll finish.
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, my question is very simple. How to measure ROI or sponsorship?
Well, that's a very good question.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult question, I guess.
First of all, what we do, or what as I said before, we don't measure the ROI by ourselves. Most of the clubs that we work with, or most of the brands that we work with, once they close a partnership deal, they have Nielsen, they have Linkfire, they have another companies that are specialized in the ROI measurement. In this case, what we do is we analyze those reports that are quite long, 100 pages, 150 pages of reports, and then we analyze which are the ROI by each asset, by each target, by each audience, and then we analyze how are we activating this partnership, if this is reaching the return not on investment but on objectives as well. That's very important, not only the quantitative side but the quality side as well. And then we can, let's say, shape our strategies, shape the new contracts, shape the new agreements. Let's say that maybe the LAD board is, I don't know, giving 90% of the ROI of the total sponsorship agreement. So maybe in the coming agreements we have to think about more LAD minutes instead of, I don't know, ticketing. So that's one of the things that we also work with our clients. But in terms of ROI, there's a lot of ways of calculating, measuring it. But what we are doing, especially with Horizon in this case, is not being in the final stage of the agreement, in the ROI stage of the agreement, but we go in the first stage of the agreement, and what we do is evaluating assets compared to the engagement that the clubs or the brands would have if they invested in paid media campaigns in Facebook, in Instagram, in Twitter. So it's another way to not value the ROI, but valuing assets before closing the partnership.
Thank you.
So should I go? Okay. My question is more of a general question, as in terms of for people that want to start a career in sports management or sport marketing. What are your recommendations? So you look for sports brands or go for clubs, or maybe, for instance, you talk more about football, but what opportunities do you see for other sports? For instance, the NBA coming to Europe as well, or tennis as well, in the Asian market, as we said earlier. What are your recommendations for people starting a career in sport?
I mean, first of all, what I'd say is which is the let's say the area that you love the most. I mean, it's sponsorship, it's betting management, it's ticketing, it's players, it's you love more to work with clubs, or you are more attracted by clubs than by brands. But what I'd say is reach as many people as possible, talk to people as much as possible, work your LinkedIn. As I said before, don't be afraid of connecting people and asking for feedback, or asking for a meeting, asking for what are the recommendations of other professionals as well. Reach people that you see as yourself in 5 years maybe, and ask them what it's been their journey as well. But I mean, knock as much doors as possible, I'd say, and work your LinkedIn and show you as proactive potential professional for that brand or for that club. Post some publication on LinkedIn, because brands and clubs will see you as an informed and as a proactive potential employee for them. So that's the thing. I mean, sports, it's a very global market. So try to reach as many people as possible, as many sports as possible. Maybe the women's football and sports are an evolving market now. So there will be a lot of opportunities there too. And MBA, as you said before, is coming to Europe as well. So you can reach the people that is now working in the NBA, asking them, okay, I love basketball, I love NBA, I'd like to work with you. Can you please put me in contact with the people that is leading the let's say the department, or can you give me an insight of what you need now in the NBA, or what are you doing now in the NBA? And maybe you can see which is the area that you like to work in the NBA or Football Club Barcelona or any other sports world.
Thank you.
Can we do the last question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
I have a last really short question. So it's also about like how to get into this sport industry. Is a BBA enough to get your first experience as an internship in the sport industry, or a master in sport business? Like, is it really important to have the master in sport business, or we could only get the first experience thanks to a BBA?
I mean, well, as I said before, of course, a master is important. As much knowledge as possible that you have, it's very important. But there's a lot of knowledge in the market now. There's a lot of people looking for jobs in the sports world. So what we really appreciate is proactive people, people that is doing more than the other people, that it's informed, that it's that they show that they want to work with you, that they are passionate, that they are, because when things will go wrong, the people that is passionate will be the people that will keep working, will keep pushing, and will keep thinking about new strategies, new activations, etc. So of course, a master degree it's very important, but a BBA it's good if you are a proactive young man in this case and looking for a job, and you show yourself as a very passionate potential professional.
Okay, thank you very much.
okay, so thank you very much for asking all the questions, taking this time. I think it was very helpful, valuable, and lots of information to process. And yeah, we wish you good luck on your further journey. We hope the COVID will be opportunity for your company. And yeah, we are very grateful and thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Bartos, and all of you. Of course, if you want to reach me on LinkedIn, I'll be more than pleasure to answer your questions. And so reach me on LinkedIn, and we keep in touch with everyone.